Let's face it, this is not the first time you're telling yourself that this is my year to start a farm. It's very probable that's not even your second or even your third. And can I tell you an even more damning truth? The highest likelihood is that this year you're not even any closer to starting that farm. Now, am I being just pessimistic or having very little hope or trust in you? Maybe, but let's go through the facts. These are well-researched and proven facts. Of all the people who have set goals that they want to accomplish at the beginning of the year, only 9% manage to accomplish those goals by the end of the year. So we're going to assume that you're one of, the percentage of people who actually set goals. So my channel has over 400,000 subscribers. So let's assume that 200,000 of you people have actually set out goals to start the farm. That means only 18,000 of you will actually start a farm this year. Now, 18,000 looks like a big number, but compared to the fact that the channel has over 400,000 subscribers, that's a really small number. Now, it's also researched and proven that only 38% of the population usually have New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the year. So, of the 400,000 subscribers, it means only 152,000 of you people who are watching this channel actually have New Year's resolutions. The rest of you are just living, just like that. So if we take the 9% as a percentage of the 152,000, it brings the number even lower. That means only 13,680 of you people watching this video, watching this channel, actually going to be starting their farm this year. Now, of course, you certainly don't want to be amongst that big percentage, the 91%, who actually don't do anything about it and don't start their farm this year. Because you've always told yourself, I'm going to start this year, and you've made up your mind that this year you're going to be starting your farm. And my channel has over 300 videos, a lot of them about poultry. You've been learning, so you're telling yourself, okay, I'm still learning. Doctor, I'm still learning. Don't be too harsh on me. I'm trying to learn to make sure that I'm at the very best point before I start this farm. It's okay, I understand, yeah? You're still learning. But can I even give you worse news? 80% of people who have set their resolutions at the beginning of the year have given up by the end of Feb. Can you imagine? By the end of Feb, 80% will not do anything about their New Year's resolution. And you know what's even worse? By January 17th, if you've done nothing about implementing your plan of actually doing something about your New Year's resolution, you have more than 50% likelihood of not starting it or actually not accomplishing it. So this video is certainly going up after January 17th. And so just look at yourself. If you've done nothing, the highest likelihood is that you're going to fail. But of course, the goal of this video is not for me to come here and give you all the bad news and tell you how you're not going to succeed. You are watching this video because you want to be amongst the 9%. The 9% who actually take action and start their farm this year. So if you want to be amongst the 9% who actually want to start, I want to open your eyes up to the reality of the matter. You see, you need to face the reality of the matter in order for you to conquer that reality. If you don't face it, before you know it, it will be the end of the year and you've done nothing about it. I'll tell you something, really, really terrible news. And this is actual things happening in the world currently. In 2023, the average person spent over 4 hours on their smartphone every day. Can you imagine? Over 4 hours. Now, just look at it. You have about 8 hours of sleeping every day. So you've already cut down your time of being awake to only 16 hours. And then there's the time you'll spend eating, there's the time you'll spend, cleaning yourself up, moving from one place to another. In the end, you're only going to be left with about maybe 8 hours of time that you actually can utilize properly. And then of that 8 hours, a lot of people will spend 4 hours on a screen. Can you imagine how terrible that is? But the thing is that it has been a worse trend. In 2019, that figure was only just over 3 hours. Yeah? In 2019, people were spending their time on screens only 3 hours. That means if you haven't started your farm in 2019, you have a less likelihood of starting it this year because there's even more things attracting you to waste time. So before you think about starting your farm, you need to face these ghosts. You need to understand that the entire world is actually against you starting that farm and succeeding and being great at farming. So now that you understand all these things, what the hell do you do about it? You're like, I finally want to start. Doctor, I've had all the negative news. I understand that the likelihood of me failing is very high. What do I do about it? How do I actually start this farm? Well, if you just want a simple answer, just start. Don't waste time, just start. But of course, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm going to debunk each and every reason that you actually have for not starting. Because if you haven't started your farm by now, you usually have a reason. There's a reason at the back of your mind, whether consciously or subconsciously, that's stopping you from starting. So let's go through them. And actually, by the end of this video, you're going to understand that there's no reason for you to not start. First thing is knowledge. You're telling yourself, doctor, I need more knowledge before I start my farm. I need to make sure that I understand these things, I understand everything, so that the likelihood of me failing is very low. Well, let's get to the truth of the matter. If you never start because you're still looking for the knowledge, you've 100% failed because you've done nothing about it. So it's better that you start and fail than never start at all. So take a look at this. Think about me, for example. By the time I started my farm, I didn't have over 300 YouTube videos to watch on the channel. You who is watching this video has probably watched quite a number of YouTube videos about farming. On my channel, I have over 300 videos. You've watched other videos from other channels. Just imagine how many videos you've watched, how many things you've read up, how many motivational people you've listened to encourage you to start that farm. Isn't that enough knowledge? Isn't that enough? Come on. For me, by the time I started, I'd probably watched maybe 15 or 20 videos. It wasn't too much. I had read a few PDFs on the internet here and there, but I understood that the most important thing is that I take action. If I just spend all my time trying to get knowledge, trying to learn, and I end up doing nothing, I've just wasted my time. So if your excuse is knowledge, it's not an excuse anymore. I feel like you already know too much. You don't need to know everything before you start. Some things you learn along the way. And the thing is that you're more motivated to learn things once you've started. Once the farm has started and you have chickens inside and you don't know how much feed to give the birds, you're going to go and read up because you're like, oh, I need to make sure I give the birds feed. You're not going to care too much about how much feed you need to give the birds before the farm starts. It's only after you start that you're going to start really caring too much about this knowledge. So if your reason is knowledge, really, it's not a reason anymore. Reason number 2, doctor, I don't have money. Guys, I'll tell you the honest truth. You will never have enough money to start the project. It's very difficult that you'll get to the point that you're comfortable enough to start the project. Even I didn't have enough money. Yeah, I started with about 800 chickens, but I only constructed it halfway. I started with a particular number of birds, and for some time, guys, while I was feeding the chickens, I had to make sure that I'm starving. I wasn't feeding myself. I would eat, a few things, here and there, snacks and things like that. But I was literally starving myself to make sure that the birds have feed. So if you're only waiting for the time you have enough money, you will never start. What I advise you to do is to start with a project that can fit the amount of money you have. If you only have the money to feed 200 birds in the project, start with that. Trust me, someone who starts with 200 birds and someone who is waiting to get enough money to start with 2,000 birds, the person with 2,000 birds is very unlikely to start. And by the time they start, the person who started with 200 birds will probably be at 10,000 birds. So I advise you to start with the money that can fit what you have. And I don't advise you to borrow. You see, at the beginning, I don't advise you to borrow. Borrowing can be okay, yeah? I've borrowed before, and it's understandable to borrow to scale the business because the business is performing, you're making money, and now you want to expand so that you bring in more money and, the whole thing works out. But before you get to that point, it doesn't make sense, yeah? It doesn't make sense for you to borrow, so I don't advise you to borrow. Use the money that you have. If you're working, save up as much as possible and start at a small level. So money is also not an excuse. Reason number 3 is you don't have enough time. You're thinking to yourself, I don't have enough time to actually manage the project. Well, if you feel like you don't have enough time, there's a few things you can do. First, start off with fewer birds so that you can manage the risk. Yeah? When you start off with fewer birds and see how the project is performing, you can get more motivated to actually create time. You'll get more motivated to find all ways that you can create time to come and be available at the farm. So start off with few birds. Secondly, hire someone who you can trust and you can supervise. You understand? For me, when I started, I was still practicing as a doctor. So clearly I didn't have the most time. But on the weekends, I would have some time and I would run over to the farm, supervise. And of course, I faced some challenges because I wasn't present full time, but I was never ever going to be present full time. So I would rather have faced those challenges, gone through them, learned through them, than never have started and waited for time because that time was never going to come. So start the farm, get someone who can manage the farm, someone who you can trust, to whichever level you can trust. If you fail to get someone, even if you can only trust the person 20%, get them, yeah, put them on the farm and then come and supervise them, during the times that you're off. The third thing you can do is ask for leave. You can start, for example, a broiler project, ask for leave, take leave of 2 weeks, 1 month. In 1 month, a broiler project is almost completed. Yeah, if you can construct during your days of work, you know, maybe on a Sunday, you construct the house, prepare everything every Sunday. By the end of maybe 3 Sundays, everything will be ready. Take leave for maybe 1 month, spend time around, you'll be done with the brooding, the birds will be growing. Really, you're only left with 1 week to sell the birds, and you've sampled the project, and now you understand how it works, and it becomes easier for you to start and actually run the project. Number 4, you fear to fail. The fear of failure is another reason a lot of people don't start. And I'll tell you the honest truth. You'll fail anyway. Now, it depends on what you define failure as. But if your definition of failure is losing a few birds, losing money here and there, I'll tell you the honest truth. You're going to fail. It doesn't matter how prepared you are. You're going to fail anyway. So how about you start? I thought I was prepared when I started. I failed anyway. I lost birds. I lost money. People were stealing from me. So you're going to fail anyway. So how about you start and actually learn through the failures? The thing is, you only fail if you decide to stop. The thing in life is that you only fail if you give up. You only fail if you give up. So these things that you're calling failures are actually stepping stones for you to go to another level. They are stepping stones. They are not meant to keep you down. They're supposed to be a learning thing for you. Yeah. For me, every time I failed, I made sure that I utilize that point of where I've failed from to make sure that next time out, I actually never fail. That thing never happens to me. So my failures, you know, my so-called failures actually turned out to be a very good learning point for me, because then I could utilize them to make sure that I don't fail again. Yeah, they became a stepping stone for me. So generally, you can't fail. You only fail if you give up. But in all reality, you're going to fail. So how about you just start? Just start. You're going to have these setbacks here and there. It doesn't matter how well you prepare, you're going to have them anyway. So just start, utilize them to improve yourself and get to the top. You only fail if you give up. So if you've decided to not start because you fear failing, you've already failed. And finally, you have not started because you're being discouraged by others. The other people who are telling you, come on, I've done that thing before, I've failed at it. You're very likely to fail. I'll tell you the honest truth. The most likely reason those people are discouraging you is because they fear being left behind. It's not direct that they intentionally fear being left behind, but it's subconscious. People just don't want other people to go ahead of them. And so if they see you, you're doing, you know, you're probably working together at a bank and something like that, and they see you thinking about going into an entrepreneurial journey or something like that, they're like, oh, this person might actually, you know, get ahead, you know. And so they'll tell you all those things a lot of times simply to discourage you. Look at them. What have they accomplished? What have they accomplished? Look at the people who have accomplished things. Look at me, for example. What am I telling you? I'm telling you to start. Go and read up. Read as many books of entrepreneurs, people who have started in different ways. What have they told you? Those people always tell you, find somewhere to start. So come on, just go and start. Don't listen to people. Don't let other people discourage you, because it's only going to keep you behind. And at the end of the day, you'll just end up a failure only because you didn't try. So come on, if you've watched this video, I believe you've got the boldness, the strength to actually make that step to start. Just start. There's no reason for you to not start. And if you've decided to finally start, I think you'll enjoy this video right here, where I share lessons that I've learned from successful farmers. These are rich millionaire farmers, and there are reasons why they succeed. So just before you start the farm, watch this video right here, and trust me, you'll like it. Catch you very soon with another video. Bye-bye.